This tiny adapter can turn almost any camera into a webcam for streaming, recording, Zoom calls, or really anything else that you'd use a standard webcam for. Let's check it out. So I get a lot of comments asking if this specific camera can be used for streaming and how to do that. And so hopefully this device will be the solution for any of those people that were wondering that question, how they can use their DSLR or mirrorless camera as a webcam for whatever purpose they want to use it for. However, there are a few limitations with this device, so definitely watch this entire video to make sure it'll work with your specific camera. So this is the Elgato Cam Link 4K. Everything about this capture card is very simple. In the box you get the card itself, obviously, a USB extension cable and a sticker, and then a manual. That's it in the box. And then in terms of using it, it's pretty much the same. You plug it in with USB to your desktop or laptop or whatever device you want to use. And then you plug in an HDMI cable into the other end of it, and then plug the other end of the cable into your camera, and you're pretty much all set to go right from there. You don't need to download any additional software to use this, which is very nice. It pretty much is just a plug and play system. Once everything's plugged in, you just turn your camera on and go into whatever software you want to use it with, and it should show up as a video input option. You just select Cam Link 4K, and you should be all set to go right there. However, when it comes to which cameras you can actually use this with, the main thing that your camera needs to have is clean HDMI output. Now, if you don't know if your camera does have clean HDMI output, the easiest way is just to search up on Google, look up and then insert whatever camera you have, Sony a6000 or Canon M50. Does whatever camera you have clean HDMI output, and it should pop right up there in Google, and that'll be your answer to if you can use this and if you can't. Now there are some workarounds if your camera doesn't have clean HDMI output. However, they will be pretty limiting, but I will quickly go over what you can do if your camera doesn't have clean HDMI output. And so clean HDMI output is essentially your camera sending out this signal through its HDMI output port that's essentially a fully clean image with no overlays and no effects or anything like that on top of it. So for example, if you turn on your camera and look at the screen right now, you'll probably see all these numbers, all these stats and random things all around the borders of the screen, maybe even some in the middle of the screen to show your focus point or something like that. There's just all this different information that obviously helps you find out, what your exposure looks like, what your shutter speed's at and stuff like that. But of course, once you actually record footage with your camera or take a picture or anything like that, obviously none of those numbers and different things are on the pictures or videos. However, with most cameras, if you attach an external monitor or really anything that uses the HDMI output, it'll still show all those numbers and stuff, which of course, if you're using an external monitor just to have a bigger screen to look at your footage, you still want to have all those numbers for seeing what everything's at before recording your footage. But the one thing you don't want all that with is if you want to use it as a webcam or, get a clean external output for recording not to the SD card, but on your computer itself. And so essentially that is what clean HDMI output is. You can usually toggle it in your settings in your camera. It'll be a little different for every camera, so that's another thing you can look up, how to toggle clean HDMI output. However, a decent amount of cameras, especially older cameras, sometimes don't have an option to output a clean HDMI signal. So when you output footage through the HDMI port into the Elgato Cam Link or, really anything else, you're always gonna have those numbers and information on the screen that blocks part of your footage. Now there is a workaround you can use, but it's definitely not ideal, and I wouldn't really recommend it unless it's legitimately your final option. Alright, real quick, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. So if you didn't know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone that wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. So some of the benefits of Skillshare are, of course, that it's an ad-free platform. So you can watch all the classes you want without being interrupted by annoying advertisements and breaking your focus. There's also new premium classes added weekly, so there's pretty much always going to be something new to discover on a weekly basis. And then the entire catalog is now available with subtitles in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. So I actually signed up for Skillshare over a year ago when Marquez Brownlee first released his Skillshare course called YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. So if you don't know, Marquez is essentially the biggest tech creator on the YouTube platform, and he's someone that I really look up to, and I've been watching him for years. So I decided to join Skillshare because of his course. But then after I finished Marquez's awesome course, I pretty much got sucked into the platform and binge watched a bunch of different courses about filmmaking, creativity, and productivity. And the classes on Skillshare have seriously helped me create better YouTube content for you. So the first 1,000 people to use my link down in the description will get to try Skillshare for 1 month free so that you can decide if this is something that will help you build new skills like it did for me without having to pay anything out of pocket for the first month. So thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the video. And this would be to hook everything up just like I explained, hook it up to your computer, and you'll see all those numbers and shutter speed and, you know, maybe audio levels and all that stuff on there. But if you have a camera where all the information is only around the edges, I found that in some softwares, this won't even work for all softwares, but if I bring in that footage into OBS, you can usually adjust and crop in and, you know, move things around inside of OBS, which is a really popular recording and streaming software. And you can actually crop in on the footage until all that stuff around the edge is gone, and then it will somewhat be a clean feed on there. There won't be any random information around there. However, that won't work for all cameras because some camera manufacturers will have information like right in the center of the screen, or, you know, other places that you really wouldn't be able to get rid of unless you zoom in like an insane amount on just one small section of the screen, of course. And of course, another con of doing this and cropping in is your footage is going to be less sharp because you have to crop in and zoom in on this footage. So I would say in almost all scenarios, try to make sure your camera has clean HDMI output. I would try to get one that does so that you can have that clean footage. It'll be the best possible option for getting the best footage possible. That's pretty much the rundown on this. This isn't really a full review. I mean, it's just this small little piece of plastic essentially with USB port on one end, HDMI on the other end. You know, it doesn't feel super high quality made out of metal or anything like that, but it's definitely gonna get the job done if you want to use your DSLR or mirrorless camera as a webcam. Now to wrap this video up, I will link the Elgato Cam Link down in the description if you want to check it out. It will be an affiliate link, so if you decide to purchase it through my link, I'll get a small commission at no extra cost to you. So that would really help me out, but if you don't want to use an affiliate link, you can just search it up on Google. It's just the Elgato Cam Link 4K. And then one final thing, Elgato did not pay me to make this, they didn't send me this. I bought this with my own money to use for streaming. So I want to be clear with that as well. But that wraps this video up. If you have any questions, go leave them down in the comments and I'll try to answer all of them if I can. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.